I got to see the process or the thinking behind MP41 before I actually got to drive it. And with the association with Hercules Corporation in Nevada, was very much more, I suppose, on message that this wasn't as carbon had been used previously. This was new technology, and it was good technology. While it was different to drive in terms of, say, comfort in the cockpit, the actual car felt stiff, rigid, which is what we wanted to achieve. We wanted to get that rigidity because with ground effects as we had at that time, big loads going into the car, narrow tubs, you wanted to keep all your mechanical bits constant and consistent. But when I say that the car felt different when you drove it, aluminium tubs, if you're in a bit of a moment in a car and having to shuffle your hands around, occasionally hit the side of the tub. With aluminium, there was a certain amount of yielding. It hurt, but you sort of sensed that the aluminium sort of moved and then came back. Carbon hurt like hell because it was just nothing. You hit your elbow and it was a crack, and then you'd get a bruise and it was sore. So there was a difference in just the physical experience of being in the tub, aside from what the tub itself would do for all the mechanical inputs that it was being subjected to on the circuit. I think we had a very good construction, which gave us consistency, the ability to pile on as much downforce as we could. But other teams were racing with aluminium cars and were winning races. So in itself, it didn't at that point transform the success of McLaren, but it took McLaren onto a winning platform, which it had not been for a number of years prior. The inherent safety that the carbon fibre construction brought to Formula One. And I have had broken arms and legs and ankles in metal cars. It was an occupational hazard in the 70s. If you had an accident, a front-end accident, you'd inevitably get an ankle fracture or a leg break, or maybe both. And all of a sudden we were finding ourselves, even with you can see how far forward the driver sits in the cockpit here. Your feet were here, almost at the front of the wheel. So anything that was in that area was vulnerable. And with the construction of the carbon fibre chassis, it gave us a better margin of safety. So we could have, or as Andrea did, numerous 17 accidents. I had one big one, which was a rear accident. We were going into a barrier backwards. I didn't realise how big an accident it had been. I didn't even know until later that night. And I saw a replay of the incident. But when I got out of the car, I went, oops, where's my engine? Oh, there it is over there on the other side of the racetrack. I wasn't aware in the incident because I hadn't felt the magnitude of impact that I would have normally expected to feel. And had I been in a normal aluminium chassis car, I suspect that I might have suffered injury where I didn't have any injury at all when I stepped out of the car. So that was I think that there was a double-sided benefit. One was that you got a much better structure to hang all the bits off, but secondly, we had a much safer cell in which to do our job.